So do you think it's gone?
It's still out there. It's close.
We are talking Great White, directed by Martin Wilson and stars Katrina Bowden. Now, this is the latest shark movie in probably the 856 one we've had in the last kind of few years. No, but this one is a more serious shark film, not like one of these two-headed Sharknado type ones. And they're the ones that I prefer. I prefer my sharks to be serious. One of my favourite films that I've watched in recent years has been 47 Meters Down, which I absolutely loved. And this has actually got one of the producers from that movie, so I was pretty stoked to see it. And it looks like it has some decent production value. The movie's actually surprisingly similar to another shark film. Now you may be thinking The Shallows, and it is similar to that, but it's actually a low-budget shark film called Frenzy, also known as Surrounded, where the plot is practically identical. But what is the plot? Well, it focuses on this small chartered aeroplane, like a water aeroplane, that has been hired by this couple who want to go to this tropical island. And they go there and discover that there is actually a chewed up human body from a shark attack, and they suspect that there may be another person with this kind of victim. So they're going to do a brief kind of search around the area and find a kind of shipwreck, only to discover there is a huge great white shark lurking there, which attacks and damages the aeroplane, causing the now 5 people in the aeroplane to have to eject, essentially, and get on this kind of life raft and hope for the best. And on the life raft, we get a variety of shark attacks. What'll happen? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So, what can we say that I liked about Great White? I will say this. The main thing I would say with this film, I was entertained. This movie entertained me. It was well paced. There are moments of drama. It does slow down a little bit, but I still think that was good because it was kind of building up tension. I liked the kind of the pacing of it. And there are some genuinely kind of tense moments when we have kind of people in the water. And that was all good stuff. I think the location shooting here is phenomenally beautiful. There is some really great kind of aerial shots of these kind of locales, and it truly looks breathtaking. As are some fantastic underwater photography, and almost kind of making it look dreamlike and ethereal in kind of certain shots, which I kind of really liked. And I will say I thought the acting, for the most part, was pretty good. I kind of thought all our characters did the best job that they could with these kind of characters that were written for them. However, this movie was not without some problems. Where to start? Okay, so the minor one first, I suppose. It is more or less the same film as Frenzy. I don't know if that was just perchance. I mean, I guess there's only so many things that can happen in a shark attack movie, but it just struck me as very, very kind of similar. I think some of the, as much as I could have quite liked some of the acting here, I did think the characters were somewhat cliche. They kind of have one kind of character type, but I don't blame the actors here. I think just the writing here made the characters a little bit cliche. And then we kind of maybe go into things what I think are a little more serious. Number one is forced drama. To save on budget, I suppose, and kind of having the stakes still high, we have forced drama with the participants of this life raft. And it's kind of like, it just seems silly, and it seems like forced drama. Leading into that, how the first victim of the kind of this group of survivors, not the kind of the original two, gets in the water, I thought was beyond silly, because it just went straight down into kind of B-movie territory. And I thought, to be honest with you, until this point, the movie seemed like a kind of a higher level of kind of production. But I just thought, man, that was ridiculous how that guy ended up in the water. It just seemed utterly redundant about, you know, people would be doing such a things. And I don't want to go into it, but ultimately it's very silly. And even people who weren't involved in the reasons why he kind of gets in the water, this one person just kind of sit around and doing nothing. It's particularly obvious who's going to die. Katrina Bowden, you know, she's got plot armor on. To be honest with you, I feel the movie kind of puts her in danger a few times, but you never really feel like she's going to kind of get in any kind of danger because she's the kind of the main star. But I've got to be honest with you, other characters, I think, right, they're all going to die. These ones are going to die. And I'll be honest with you, you can probably guess the order that they're going to die. It's that obvious. So what else can we say? It goes beyond a little bit dumb sometimes. Some of this, as I've mentioned, the reason why this guy, the first victim, gets in the water, dumb. But that's not even the only moments. There's like, we're meant to believe our main character, or one of the main characters, the male lead, is a shark, or he used to be a marine biologist. Yet he seems to know nothing about sharks. He doesn't kind of share any information about, you know, don't splash around in certain things and stuff like that. It kind of like doesn't really offer much insight to the other characters. I don't know what the point of making him a marine biologist was, if I'm completely honest. But there's also some really small dumb moments. One of the kind of the other factors that is a problem for these characters is that they're running out of water, fresh water. And in one scene it rains, and they've got like a big hexagon kind of shaped life raft, right? And there's this woman with like a little bottle of water collecting, like trying to collect rain, and they kind of share it, one sip each. It's like, you're in a massive life raft. The water's just come down and it's going to be a bloody life raft. Why don't you just go? It's so stupid. It's such an obvious oversight. It might just seem like a silly thing and kind of like, well, that's not such a big deal, but it just goes to the lack of detail in kind of very obvious kind of situations. The sharks themselves, this was the most disappointing thing because I was kind of expecting a higher level of entertainment. There are some good shots of actual sharks, kind of obviously, particularly when we kind of see underwater photography. I'm not sure if that was shot for the film or if it was just stock footage, but that is good. What is not as good? The CGI sharks. I was surprised how poor these looked. I thought this was a relatively, at least medium budget movie rather than a kind of a low budget B movie. But man, those sharks were ropey. The movie I mentioned previously, Frenzy, was like, I think it was like an asylum picture, a sci-fi picture, something like that. You expect cheesy, CGI for a movie like that. I was not expecting it in this film. And they go one step further with having roaring sharks. I'm thinking, Jesus, this really is a B movie. So, I'll be honest with you, I was expecting more from this film. And it's not a kind of a genuine kind of tense shark film, obviously like Jaws, but not even kind of like The Shallows, 47 metres down, The Reef, those ones that I would say, in the plethora of shark movies stand above as kind of some of the better ones. This one, it kind of just goes into the B movie territory, despite I think a solid setup and decent production value outside of the bits I've kind of mentioned. But ultimately, although I would say I was entertained, and that is big points for me on that one, because this movie was entertaining despite some of its flaws. It really just is a kind of a pretty forgettable B movie at the end of the day. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Like I said, I was entertained. Some of the stuff was good here, but it has a kind of plethora of bad issues for me that I think really kind of shoots this one down as a memorable shark film. It's just okay. It's watchable. If you like shark films, you'll kind of like this. But I can't see this being anyone's top 10 shark list movies. Anyway, have you seen Great White? What did you think about it? Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.